you helped build this area, or get this area internationally recognized as a place for youth racers to take their skills to the next level. And now, I think thanks, a lot to you, it really is like people are coming from all over the world really to enroll their kids here to train in ski racing. And I know as a parent myself, and just being in the community, that with that comes the concern that, perhaps a child might have to sacrifice education to get to that level. And now, having interviewed you in the past, I never got the sense, you're a published author, you do whole press conferences in German. I get the sense that you managed to actually get a good education despite being the best in the world and the fastest in the world. So if there's a word of advice for those parents that have those concerns, that's kind of my main question that I wanted to ask you, and thanks for talking.
Yeah, I think education is obviously incredibly important, and we give a lot of educational scholarships in my foundation. But for me, I had a very untraditional route with my educational journey. I had homeschooled for a couple of years. I did Vail Academy and Battle Mountain for a couple of years, and then I eventually had to do online schooling because I was no longer in town long enough to actually meet the state requirements. So I had to take online classes. So it wasn't traditional, but I got such amazing experiences from traveling the world. I started traveling to Europe when I was 9 years old by myself, and I learned German. I started trying to learn German actually here in Vail at Vail Academy, but I think there's a lot of ways to education. It's not just linear, there's no one way, one size fits all. I think the important thing is that you support your child and allow them to be passionate about something, and whether that's ski racing or other sports or really anything at all. I think them knowing that you support them and letting them have that opportunity is more impactful than sacrificing that for education. I think you can do both. Because honestly, kids are only kids for so long, and then they don't have that opportunity anymore. So I think it's important to give them a chance.
And challenges to that, like that you can think back that might have been some of the biggest challenges? Was it simply just making the time, or?
I always made time. I think I was a very driven kid, so I wanted to succeed at school. I just wasn't always there because I had to travel for racing. So I think my biggest thing was that I didn't have a lot of support. When I started doing online schooling, I was teaching myself essentially, and I would have loved to have more help with that, but it just was a circumstance that I was in. And there's so many more resources nowadays. Like the academy is free now. It's a charter school. My dad is so mad.
Magnet school.
Yeah.
Yes. But same thing.
The same thing. My family sacrificed a lot to try to get me to a good school while I was still not traveling as much. But there's always going to be sacrifices that are made, and I think I'm not a very good example. I sacrificed a lot in my life, but I'd also paid off enormously. So not everyone has the same story, like I said, but I think it's just important to support your kids in whatever way you can.